Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh to all the viewers of Hilaal TV. Alhamdulillah, you are welcome to a journey of a lifetime during which we speak about a number of issues pertaining to Hajj. And from the SAHUC, I have in the studio with me a beloved brother, Asif Isop, who will be speaking to you on numerous issues pertaining to preparations for Hajj and what needs to be done and how and what are you supposed to carry with you on this auspicious journey of a lifetime. Brother Asif, welcome to a journey of a lifetime, and Jazakallah khairan for your time and for the sacrifice. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh Adamm, and assalamu alaikum to the viewers of Hilaal TV.
Wa alaikum assalam. Yes, very quickly, take us through the preparations of Hajj. If a Hajj is actually embarking on this holy journey to the Holy Lands, what is it that you would advise this particular Hajji to take with him or with her?
Okay, so Sheikh, if I could go back a bit,
Right.
and when we speak about Hajj today,
Yes,
it's unlike years back when Hajj was seasonal,
correct.
and it was just a 3-month thing where you prepare, and in 3 months you could get pilgrims onto a flight and to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Recently, in the recent past, we have the Ministry of Hajj that has put in a whole lot of processes in place and timelines.
Correct.
And of course, before even the current Hajj is concluded, there are already meetings with the head of mission and the officials of SAHUC, where the quota for the next Hajj is already given.
Allahu Akbar.
And of course, preparation starts right there before the team even arrives back in the country. So alhamdulillah, when that process sort of unfolds, we have to take care of various aspects with regards to accreditation of pilgrims, accreditation of Hajj operators, as well as a whole lot of other logistics and requirements from the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah. So alhamdulillah, when the team gets back, work starts in Muharram.
In Muharram.
So in the
first month of the Islamic calendar.
Absolutely.
Allah.
So that's where SAHUC then puts out a dynamic list which pilgrims could go on and check where they are in the queue, and from there they can determine whether they will fall into the quota for the next year.
Right.
And as a result, lots of media announcements are made. There's a lot of publicity around it on various platforms.
Correct.
That pilgrims should go and check where they are in the queue. And of course, by doing this, SAHUC gives the pilgrim an opportunity to prepare.
No.
Because when you do the accreditation, it's generally a few months before Hajj.
No.
It's rather late, for people to get leave, for people to take care of other issues with regards to family.
Yes.
Family issues and that type of stuff.
Right.
So in this way, a pilgrim is able to decide in Muharram
Well in advance. Yes.
if they can travel or not. And if they can't, then it's expected from them to go onto the portal and defer.
Correct.
So and of course you are quite familiar with this process, and you serve as the NHAC chairperson, and how, if you can also elaborate on how this process unfolds, where pilgrims go onto the portal and then move themselves to a future year.
Yeah. Jazakallah khairan, Brother Asif. Yes, indeed, you are right. And at that point, when a pilgrim defers, actually, he will be doing the right thing, because at the end of the day, he is now allowing the person before him to come up the queue. So when he defers, he is actually saying to SAHUC to say, you know what, I'm unable to undertake this particular journey because of various reasons. And we have always encouraged the pilgrims to do that, because it actually helps us, and we actually know to say, okay, this pilgrim is not ready, so you bring up those that are in the queue so that we can start dealing with them. And it helps to sanitize the whole process with ease. And on a bit of negative note, over the years we have discovered that many pilgrims would wait for the last minute, to defer. And that comes with its own challenges.
Yes.
And hence we always urge the pilgrims to say, don't shy away. You know your situation.
Yes.
You know that, financially you are not ready. And you know that you just took your leave, your annual leave, and you may have challenges getting another leave for you to be able to go on this, journey. So there are many other factors. Your health could be also a problem. So I think only a Haji would know better whether he can undertake the journey or he cannot. And also, as you said earlier on, to say the dynamic list helps the Haji in the queue to at least have an understanding, to say, okay, I am now within the 2,500. So you will know that, there is a probability, there is a possibility of me being accredited.
Yes.
And then you look at your other, issues, financial issues and otherwise, so that you are able to make an informed decision. So yes, indeed, Brother Asif, what you say is true, and we will always urge the pilgrims to defer whenever they know that they will not be able to undertake the journey.
And I think they should not be afraid at all to do this, deferral, because they're still in the queue.
Yes.
And if they select the next year that they want to travel, they will be given again the first sort of opportunity.
Exactly.
It won't be that you go back on the queue.
No.
You'll still keep your date and time, on the queue.
Yeah.
And of course, you also indicated, Sheikh Adamm, that it helps sanitize the list, because over the years what's been happening was when the accreditation list comes out, and when the first accreditation list comes out, you give pilgrims a month to accept accreditation.
No.
And as you rightfully indicated, that pilgrims will pull it right till the last day of that month, when they will, decide they don't want to travel.
Yes.
And what it does is, it makes it difficult for the pilgrims who are in the second or third list to prepare.
Correct.
Because what happens is, you giving them lesser time to prepare.
100%.
And also they have to make a whole lot of arrangements with leave, with regards to, the family commitments. If they have young children, you need to get someone to take care of them, and a whole lot of other dynamics.
Yeah. Issues pertaining to school, kids going to school, who's going to be taking them to school, bringing them back home after school.
Yes.
All those issues.
Yes. So therefore, it's absolutely imperative that pilgrims visit the dynamic list. And again, I'm sure as this Hajj ends of 2025, when we start Muharram, the dynamic list will be out again.
Correct.
For Hajj 2026.
Correct.
So I think we will, use this platform to urge pilgrims to go and check where they are in the queue. And let's try and, not hoard our positions.
Yes.
Let's try and, as you said, we would know, in Muharram, you would know whether you'll be able to travel, 9 months down the line, whether you'll be able to make this journey or not, financially, the health, and all of the other arrangements that you need to make. So the good thing to do is to defer.
Yes.
So of course, the accreditation list will be out in Muharram, and as it was in this past year as well. And then, of course, there are a whole lot of other, processes that unfold with regards to the accreditation of Hajj operators. And, that process takes, some time as well. And thereafter, the accreditation of pilgrims.
Exactly.
And of course, the accreditation this past year wasn't as cumbersome as it used to be in the years prior, because I think to some extent, people heeded the call to defer.
Exactly.
And as a result, we did not have as many accreditation lists like we used to have in the past.
Yes.
But once the accreditation list is out, we urge pilgrims to, go there and accept or defer as soon as possible.
Yes. And I think also, whilst what you're saying is correct, but I think we did go to the releasing the 5th accreditation list this time around.
Okay.
But it was with small numbers.
Okay.
Small numbers. Yes, there were also, cancellations.
Right.
We had about, from the beginning, a total of 561 cancellations.
Okay.
So the other things, of course, they will always happen. I don't think we can entirely, avoid it. Absolutely. Because sometimes, things happen unexpectedly. And when it does happen, well, I heard you will have to, to defer or to cancel until probably for the next Hajj season, or whichever date that he might or she might want to go for Hajj.
Yes.
But yes, we did have some cancellations.
So Alhamdulillah, Sheikh, the process has now gone beyond the accreditation, and of course, also now, pilgrims are ready to undertake the journey, and I think most of them have received the visas.
Yes.
Their operators have sorted out their travel,
correct,
their accommodation, all the land arrangements in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
And of course, SAHUC has taken care of all of the logistics, also in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with regards to the camps, as well as, the mission. And the mission has also departed, with the head of mission together with the senior mission workers. They've already moved on to set up, in preparation for the pilgrims who will be arriving soon in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Inshallah, that's true.
So we'd like to move on to, now the pilgrim, because it's about the pilgrim.
It's about the pilgrim. But before we do that, Brother Asif, we will just take a short ad break, and we will continue when we get back, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan. Welcome once again to a journey of a lifetime. With me in the studio is Brother Asif Isop, who serves on the National Hajj Operators Accreditation Committee, and he's sharing with us information on as far as Hajj is concerned, and of course, including the preparations, etc., etc. Brother Asif, if you may continue from where you had stopped, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh Adamm. And yes, when we left for the ad break, we were speaking about the pilgrims.
Yes.
And now it's all about them, because everything is in place with regards to their travel.
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, many of them will be very anxious. It's anxious moments, leaving home. Some of them, going for 6 weeks, others 5, and then you have those that go for 4 weeks and 3 weeks as well. It's about, what they need to be doing in preparation for this journey.
Yes.
And I think it's important for pilgrims to be able to have, all the documents and, the necessary, information that is required for the journey, travel documents, and all of that intact in one place.
Yes.
And of course, before that, when they start packing, it's extremely important that they pack their luggage, sharing, if they are a couple, or there is a couple that's traveling, they share, the bag space. So they try and split the clothing into 2 different bags. So in case, something doesn't arrive on time, you are able to survive for a few days. And don't pack everything into one bag. And make sure that we share the space. And of course, the other thing will be with regards to medication and that. Don't put it into your check luggage.
No.
Always carry it in your hand luggage, and make sure that it's, with you.
Yes.
So, there's no chances of it being left behind or, doesn't arrive on time. So make sure that you have your medication and that in your check luggage, as well as for those who are on chronic medication, it's always suggested that they have a script. So in case they have a challenge whilst they are in the kingdom, they're able to access medication in the kingdom. And of course, the other thing will be the documents. Pilgrims need to make sure that they have their passport on hand, the vaccination cards, as well as their tickets. So what we find when we are at the airport at times, that, there are pilgrims that come there, sort of not prepared, and some of them leave behind important documents.
Yes.
And then it's a challenge, especially in today's times with traffic and, to get someone to get back home to fetch the stuff, it can be an absolute nightmare.
You could miss the flight.
Absolutely. So make sure that, all of that is together, it's in one, envelope or, in a file, and that it's all kept together. So also with regards to the vaccinations,
yes,
it's encouraged that people make sure that they have the necessary vaccinations, as was shared by SAHUC and the operators. I think it's yellow fever, meningitis.
Yes, the double strain.
The double strain. And yellow fever is now once in a life you have to take it. But make sure that you have that, as well as for people over 65 and over, the requirement from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is that they need to have the COVID vaccination as well.
Yeah.
And I know there's been discussion around this as well. And there's no vaccinations within the country at the moment. But of course, there are other ways of overcoming it. I think there was some talk of you can go and do a test at a lab. And they call it an antibody test to check if you had COVID and now you sort of immune. And if you can have that available, it can make your travel easier.
Yes.
And the other was where you go and do a COVID test just before your trip, and you have that certificate with you. That could also help. But of course, these are all suggestions that have been made. It all depends at the end of the day on the authorities on the other end. If they feel that they want the vaccination and you don't have it, it could be a challenge. The other challenge that one could face is if you arrive at the airport and your carrier, the airline that is transporting you to Saudi Arabia, if they have the requirements from Saudi Arabia, and if they insist that you must produce all of this information, and if you don't have it, unfortunately, they won't let you travel. It happened last year when pilgrims arrived at OR Tambo. They did not have certain vaccinations or the vaccination card. They were not allowed to travel. They had to go and rearrange the travel and get those documents in place and take those necessary vaccinations, and then only were they able to travel. So this is a risk that the pilgrim will take. I believe if you can just do everything accordingly and meet the requirements, you'll make life easier for everybody.
Exactly. And I mean, it's so important that you have everything handy with you well in advance. You don't have to, all we are saying is don't take chances. It's not worth it.
Exactly.
Because it comes with so much repercussions, So you know what is required of you. Each and every pilgrim knows that I need to have yellow fever, a yellow card, the one that the yellow fever is, and then the double strain meningitis. And then if you are above 65 years, then you need the COVID certificate. So if you know you are traveling, you need to have all those handy. And I think it's important, Brother Asif, that we should also advise the Hujjaj that they shouldn't keep these documents in the checked luggage. It has to be in their hand luggage because they can easily access it.
Exactly.
Once your luggage is been checked in, you won't see it until you arrive to your destination. So if you require some documents from the bag that has been checked in, you won't get it. So
and just to show to explain to our viewers that airlines can become difficult.
Exactly.
We had a few years back a directive from, I think, Emirates that indicated that all the pilgrims must remove their ihram from the checked luggage and put it into the hand luggage. And that's all the people at the desk, at the check-in desk knew. And they insisted that every pilgrim must do that. So pilgrims came with the bags, already wrapped up and that, and they had to start opening it. So we went up Because we know these pilgrims are not going directly to Umrah.
No.
They're going to Medina.
Exactly. Exactly.
And when
I
we went to the
remember that
counter,
incident.
it was a big argument. And we
Yes.
said to them, why are you asking these people to now open all the wrapping and open the bags and take out the ihram? No, we've got directives, from the airline. But of course, the directive is only for those that are going to Umrah directly.
Umrah direct, yes. Yes. And not all are going to
No,
Umrah
majority of the South African pilgrims go to Medina.
direct. To Medina, now.
So those that are going to Umrah, I think it was becoming a bit of a challenge in Dubai.
Yes.
When pilgrims arrived, they found that they put the ihram in the checked luggage, and now you don't see your luggage until you arrive in Jeddah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So they were now making it difficult for people in Dubai, to get their ihram. So as a result, the directive came. But the directive was only for people that are going directly to Umrah.
Yes.
And not for people that are traveling to Medina.
Correct.
But we were able to address it,
Yes.
and we got them to understand.
Exactly.
But of course,
it wasn't easy.
it wasn't easy.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't.
even when it comes to this, they will go by the book.
Yeah.
If they have been given an instruction, they will follow it.
Of course, they would.
So if they tell you you can't travel because you don't have this, that, and the other, it's your responsibility.
Yes, yes.
You have to face that risk and that challenge.
Yeah.
So just with regards to when you arrive at the airport, also arrive early.
Now.
Don't try and delay it. Get there as early as possible. If you can get there 4 hours early,
It's all the better.
it's an international flight.
Exactly.
They normally tell you 2 hours, but we're saying, even if it's more than 3 hours,
Yeah.
you come there, you are relaxed,
Yes.
you check in, and all your paperwork is done,
Yes.
and you don't have any issues.
All you do is now waiting for you to go through the security check.
Yes,
And that is also done at a later stage.
exactly.
But the rest has been done.
Absolutely. So then, there's no stress, because traveling can be very stressful.
Yeah.
And especially when you're going to pilgrimage, you're going for a long time. It's unlike you're going for a 1 week holiday somewhere and you're
This
coming
is
back.
6 weeks.
6
bro.
weeks. So if you're going for such a long time, you're going to be very stressed.
Yeah.
You're leaving behind loved ones. If you're a business person, you're leaving behind that in someone else's hand. If you're a working person, you're leaving your work, and you've taken leave. All of these things play in your mind.
Yeah.
And don't add more stress to it.
Yes. No.
Try and ease through it. Get to the airport early, so traffic, everything else doesn't affect you.
Yes.
And you saved your whole life to undertake this journey.
Just imagine, yes.
You don't want now to go and cost more money to
And
get another
jeopardize
ticket,
it.
or you're going to miss the number of days you're going to spend in Medina.
Allah.
Because what happens is, you miss a flight, you get a lesser time in Medina.
Yes.
Because your booking is done in Medina.
You're talking about that, Brother Asif. You're going to spend lesser time in Medina, and yet you should have been spending probably, let's say, 10 days.
Yes.
And now you're going to be spending 6 to 7 days.
Yes.
The 3 days that you miss out on is a paid, you paid for those.
You
3
paid
days.
for it.
So
And
it's
of
not
course-
like you're going to get a refund for it.
And of
No.
course, all of the other spiritual benefits that you'll get
Yes.
from Medina, 3 days of
Gone.
loss.
It's quite a big
So
loss.
so it's very important to be punctual, to be on time, to make sure that we are able to get this done.
Indeed.
Of course, when you get to the airport, we've been at the airport for years, receiving the pilgrims.
Yes.
As SAHUC volunteers, we've been there receiving, assisting them, and also managing the meters and
crowd,
greeters
yeah,
that come.
exactly,
Because
exactly.
for every pilgrim that leaves, you'll have like about 10 people
Yes.
that comes to see
Comes
the
to
pilgrim
them
off.
Yes.
So we have to manage that space as well. So we don't inconvenience, the regular travelers, the other travelers. We need to make sure that we respect the space
Yes.
that is allocated, to the pilgrims and the meters and greeters,
Yes.
that we are able to use those spaces and not block off any of the other passengers.
While you are at it, Brother Asif, we were informed when we went to meet up with AXA that the G20 also is on.
Yeah.
So, that adds to the crowd.
Yes.
So our pilgrims have to be cognizant of the fact that they are not the only ones.
Exactly.
There are other travelers that will have to have access to the facility.
Absolutely. And so also to the pilgrims that are traveling and other viewers, when we get to the airport to see someone off, let's try and abide by the rules that are in place.
Yes.
And if you are asked to move to a particular area, these things are arranged well in advance.
Exactly.
I know, for example, at King Shaka, those meetings have already been held. There have been a walkabout.
Yes.
The officials, SAHUC officials know exactly where to, place the meeters and greeters, and all of that has been sorted out. So let's try and just cooperate.
Yes.
So we don't inconvenience other people.
Yes.
Because you don't want at some stage for EXA to say, you know what, keep the people outside the airport. I mean, that is not fair.
Brother Asif, I think I must say that we have come to end of our episode of the show, and it's been quite interesting, and I could see there was information that was, coming. It was just flowing. So we will, inshallah, continue with our discussion, inshallah, a little later, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So I want to say Jazakallah for your time and for your sacrifice and for the information that you have shared with the viewers of Hilaal TV.
Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh Adamm. It's always a pleasure being in your company and presenting together.
Jazakallah.
Shukran.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.